some point of our life, everybody has had an idea. Your idea could be as fancy as was on the screen, probably setting up an amazing space where people can come to read and hang out, take coffee, and something like that. It could be a product, it could be a service, it could be setting up a company, it could be anything, right? At a point, everybody has had an idea of, oh, what if this thing can be like this, right? What if we could have this and this like this? What if we could work that way? I mean, this could like revolutionize this industry. It could change the way people actually go about their daily activities and all. I mean, and the thing is, ideas are amazing, they are good, right? By the time you thinking about it, you're brainstorming it, you're gathering more information, you start to paint a very good and nice picture for yourself, right? You could this entire space, I could say, we could all agree that this entire space that we're seeing in this on the screen now was an idea. It started as an idea, right? Right. Somebody saw that there's a space that could become this, and it started from the mind. So from conceiving the idea of we could have a space, something as nice as this, or even something better. It can be a physical thing, it can be a product, it can be a service, it can be a company, it can be anything, right? From that inception of the idea to getting it to this place where you have it tangible, you've achieved your idea. There's one very crucial element about there's one very crucial element that you need to understand, which is funding and financing. So funding and financing is more like interchangeable, right? It's basically involves you being able to get money for your idea. So what exactly is funding uh your idea? So in this agenda, we'll discuss what funding really is, why funding is crucial, when to actually seek funding or raise money for your idea, finding the right fund, right? Because we get to discover along the way that it's not every money that is on ground that is available to you that you should actually take, right? Then the next thing is what to actually spend on. That's very, very important. After getting the money, you should know what to use it for, right? So, what exactly is fundraising, right? Is he cashing out free money? I mean, for somebody that has idea, if you've been following the social media buzz, the newsletter buzz, and the startup buzz, you're always hearing people saying someone raised so amount of money, right? Oh, this person raised XX amount of million, this person raised so money and all. I mean, it all sounds exciting, right? It sounds exciting and kind of, how would I put this? It makes entrepreneurship kind of sweet. Let me use the word sweet from the newspaper, right? I mean, it makes entrepreneurship very sweet from the newspaper. When you see somebody raising $1 million, raising $500,000, and you use the current exchange rate, and you know what that actually converts to, you're like, bro, if I have a company and somebody can fund me with that amount, that could like set me up for life. I don't have to bother about food and anything. And I mean, that's when you look at the figure of the money, I mean, that's quite true on some side, right? But we need to understand what exactly funding is, especially for guys that are looking to raise money or finance their idea. So what exactly is fundraising, right? So fundraising is the journey of selling your idea or vision of your company to an early believer, right? So as you can see in the image by the right hand side, there is a guy standing holding a cup. Let's say the guy is you now, hypothetically. You are the one that have this idea. You've created this idea. You have it painted out, you've documented it. It makes perfect sense, right? In an ideal world, your idea is going to work. So fundraising basically is a process of you now selling your idea, not the product itself. You are not selling the product. You are not selling the product. You are selling the idea and the vision of either your project, your company, to early believers, guys that feel like, oh, you think they can believe in you enough to give you money to go build whatever you want to build, right? I mean, fundraising is completely different from selling itself. When you're selling a product, you are selling to people that want to use it. But when you're fundraising, you're communicating, and I would use the word sell, because for somebody to actually give you money, right? There's a way you have to appeal to them and make a logical sense that they're giving you money in exchange for value. Although they might not be getting that value currently, but there is a promised value of them being a shareholder at the long run, right? So let's say imagine you had invested $100,000, right, in Facebook, and that's when Mark Zuckerberg was like still starting, still in the dome, right? What I mean that at that point, it seems like you're putting so much money down without actually like getting anything, right? But the thing is, the person Mark Zuckerberg at that point is selling you the idea and the vision of Facebook, right? And on the long run, you get to benefit from it. So that's basically what fundraising looks like, right? What funding and financing your idea looks like. So on another note, I would say that it's a process of merging your idea. You have an idea, you've developed a plan, you've done the market research, you've done everything, you have the idea already, but you need money to actually bring the idea to reality, like the space we showed in the recent slide, right? You have the idea. So fundraising is now you having your idea by one hand, looking for somebody that have money, then merging it two together so that you can build something out of that idea, right? So, and the reasons for fundraising can be different. In one, you can be raising money for your idea at the very early stage, let's say the idea stage itself, when you need to build, right? You can be raising money for your idea at the stage where you are finding product market fit, right? So you've built already, you are trying to find the sweet spot of where what you need to fine tune your product to what your market wants and all, right? And you could be looking for money, right? At a point where you need to scale. So let's say you're selling potato chips now. You've been selling for five different cities or two different cities, right? And you're at the point where you need to go big. You feel like since they like it in Akure, they like it in Lagos, they like it in Ekiti, right? What if you take it to every major city in Nigeria? At that point, you will discover that you need NAFDAC, you need a couple of stuff, and you need to pay money, right? Even if you are taking it to that big, when you're taking it to that big a number, taking it to almost minimum of 36 big cities, right, in Nigeria, you discover that you need to increase your production capacity. That is scaling. So you can need money at this stage as well. Then another point where you can need money is you've been doing it before, right? You've been doing the business before. You discover that, oh, there's not so much profit for you, right? And you see, you study other competition, other people that are doing it that are in the business. You discover that, oh, they have this big machine that helps them to, instead of employing 50 people, instead of employing 50 people to work on the product, you could discover that, oh, if you get a machine, the machine can do the work of 50 people, right? So you just need to hire only 10 people more. When you get the machine, you can use the machine to increase your profit. So at that point, you probably need money, you probably need to raise money, get funds to finance the idea, to finance that, because what you're looking for at that point is profitability. So those are the different reasons why you can raise and look for funding for your business, right? So I believe we already understand what funding is, right? So why is funding crucial for your business? Why is it critical for your business, right? I mean, if you are to sit down one to one, so let's say I'm to sit down one to one with everybody on this space, right? And I ask you, why do you think funding is important for your business? I know we will all give, I know we all give you a lot of reasons, right? Pardon me. But one very important reason is leverage. Leverage. The fact that you have something, you have something you want to achieve, right? And you look into, all right. Apologies for that. So I was saying what we are discussing why we need funding for our business, right? So if I sit one on one with everybody and I ask us why do we need funding for our business, everybody will give different reasons, right? Which the reasons will be very, very valid. I mean, sincerely, they'll be valid because we want to use it to finance our idea, to develop the idea, to grow the business and stuff like that. But if there's one word that covers everything, right, that covers all the different reasons that everybody would give, it would be leverage. Leverage, you being able to get things done at a faster pace, at an easier pace. That's leverage. Not you trying to struggle and struggle and struggle to do it all yourself, get all the money yourself, get all this yourself, do it. Something that you can use machine for, right? You instead of using machine for it, instead of using machine for you, you are going the hard way. You have to be doing it by manually by yourself, right? And getting funding for your idea or for your business provides you this leverage. So basically, what funding does for your business is it provides leverage, basically. So I do believe we all understand what funding is now and why funding is crucial for your business. I am selling you the reason why you need to raise for your business. If you even if you are not interested in raising for your business before, you are not interested in getting funding for your idea before, I'm telling you that you need funding for your idea because you need leverage. You can't do it all by yourself, right? If you want to move fast, you want to get things done faster and achieve your goals faster, you need to leverage, and that is where funding comes in, right? So, when exactly do you need to? I mean, we've discussed it before, but when exactly do you need to raise fund for your idea? There are two key moments when you need to raise fund for your idea. The first moment is when you are building, right? It enables you to make something a lot of people want really fast. So let's say you discover that, oh, let's say you're selling Zobo now, right? You're selling Zobo, freshly made Zobo, very nice. You found a very good recipe, the best way to preserve it that it doesn't spoil, right? You have the idea already, you have the business plan set, but if you want to make it really fast, if you want to go fast in your business, you need funding. So we're at the point where you're building your idea, it might be a physical product, it might be a digital product, it might be software. At the point where you are starting out, where you are building, you need funding. You don't need funding when you are still considering the idea because you don't you don't you don't need to pay yourself to think, right? Unless you're probably consulting someone, right, that is a professional about a particular space. That's probably when you need funding, right? And at that point, I would say you are in the, I would say you are in your build phase, right? So apart from this, the other time when you would need funding for your business is when you want to sell, right? So let's say you want to sell, you've built the Zobo already, it's working perfectly. I mean, you built the software already, it's working perfectly. You've created the recipe for the Zobo, you've made samples of it, right? And people do like it. It tastes good. People do like it. So at that point, you need to sell to more people, right? So at a point where you need to sell to more people, you need funding because trust me, the days of
The
uh,
days of
the days of
these days of
the time of
the time of
could you
could
mute
you
your all right, thank you. All right, so that's what I was saying. Trust me, you need funding, you need to finance at the stage where you're selling to people, especially when you want to sell in massive number. Because trust me, the days of selling to people at getting customers to buy your product, especially if you're getting people online, right? The days of marketing at zero cost is completely over. I mean, marketing now should be something of investment. You're thinking, oh, if it takes $1 for me to get this customer, how much do I make after getting the customer with $1? If the number makes sense, if I spend $1 to make the customer, and at the end of the to get the customer, and at the end of the day, I'm making $2.5, right? From what I sell to the person, then that number makes sense, right? It does make sense. So what you need to do is get funding, scale, do it at a massive rate where you're getting about 1,000 customer or users at a time, and you sell something of $2.5 to them. So when you remove the cost of your marketing, which is $1, and you have $1.5 left, that sounds like a good investment, right? If you figured out all your unique economics, right? So those are the times when you need to really get funding. So, but when do you start raising, right? Like I said before, you can start raising when you're building, when you're selling, right? And there's this something I wrote there. I intentionally left it there for guys that are building software product or they are building physical product, right? If you're raising, let's say your goal is to raise $50,000, $100,000, or any amount you're raising, or let's say we're talking in terms of naira now, your goal is to raise a million naira, $20,000, 20,000 naira, 50,000 naira, and $100,000. It's easier actually to raise your first $25,000 or your first $20,000 than you think, right? Because the reason why I said this is if you have something innovative, something really, really good, right? Innovative is just it's a buzzword. Innovative simply means you've done something that everybody's doing in a new way. It doesn't have to be so techy. Innovative, not techy, right? It means you found a creative way, an amazing, unique way to do the same thing that everybody in the market is doing, right? So raising your first few cash is actually easy because if you've done your work very well, right, and a very good you've gotten a very good mix of your product, right, at that point you could easily sell to people. You could easily sell your idea to people. So in simple terms, what I'm saying is if you have a good idea, it's easy to actually raise fund. If you have a good idea and a good business, it's easy to raise fund. It's as easy as that, right? So when, like I said before, when to start raising, we already mentioned the key moment, which is why you should raise, right? When you're building and when you're selling. But when should you start raising? This is a time of this is a question of time, right? So you could ask, oh, let's say I have five people telling me they want to put money in my business, but should I start collecting the money now? The thing is, I would say it's not every time that you want to start collecting money, even if it's available to you immediately. The reason being that sometimes you just need to prove yourself that you can actually get the job done, right? Because sometimes maybe you're not just ready for the fund. Permit me to say that. I mean, we're discussing that you should be able to get funding for your business. And I'm saying that maybe you're actually not ready for the fund, right? The thing is, there's something called risk, and this comes with every business, every investment, right? So let's say you're starting out, you're someone that is starting a business, have actually not done the business before, right? The risk is very high at the idea stage when you've not done anything. And at this stage, it's very, very hard, not so hard, but it's quite hard to get people to actually commit cash to your idea, your project, or your company. The reason being that the risk is very high, because you've not done it before. Anything can happen, right? Especially if you're not like the person that is just a first-time founder or a first-time person in that line of business. You might have been doing business before. Let's say you've been doing business in what's it called? You've been doing business in making potato chips before, right? And you've done excellently well. I mean, that gives you advantage that you can actually run a business. You know what business look like. But if you're diversifying into, let's say, producing zobos or soft drinks, although everything is business, but it's a completely different water that you'll be playing in. So at that point, you would need to convince people more. Although you've running business before, give you the credibility that you know what you're doing, but at the same time, it's quite hard to convince people at this stage, which is why I would say whatever you want to raise, what thing you should do first is find a way to prove people that you know what you're doing, right? Which is traction traction. Traction simply means let's say you want to start selling Sobo, you're right? You came up with an amazing business plan of I'll be selling this and this. This is the number we'll be doing. You'll be doing 1 million naira per month and stuff like that, right? The first thing you want to do is to develop a small, even if it's just 5 bottles of that product, 5 bottles of that product, or even if the software product, develop something called a minimum viable product. The same 5 bottle is just a minimum viable product. So let me put it another way. It's just like saying someone comes to you to give him a business, a fund for a business, and the person say, I can do this and this and this. First thing that comes to your mind is, can this person actually do this? Because I mean, he has not done it before. How am I sure that this person is going to do this? How am I sure that the software is going to work, or the machine is going to work, or the product is going to taste good, right? So these are the things you need to really consider. These are the things you need to really consider, right? So, and when you consider things like this, you discover that when you're raising for your idea, you could consider developing a small version of that idea, right? That's where you can think big, but start small. Develop a small version, a proof of concept, right? Oh, the idea is this, and this. But what if we could develop a small version of that idea that shows exactly how the idea will work? So by the time you go to people, it does make sense for them to say, oh, this is what you're thinking, but you develop this small thing and this is how it's going to work. It's exactly the same thing that architects do when they want to do big projects, right? Every skyscraper that you see always have a small model of it, right? They will model it, do 3D model, small version of it to see how the entire stuffs work before even investors start to commit funds into building the big project. So when to raise is when you have the first initial traction, and those are actually like very easy to get. All you need to do is find an MVP, right? Get few people that can actually buy the idea, buy those MVP, right? That can commit to say, oh, I like this thing, I can get it, right? So when you've done your MVP, you've validated the idea in a little way that this thing can actually work. Then the next time you want to start raising is during your growth phase, right? During your growth phase, like we said earlier, when you want to go massive, you want to scale, right? So when you want to start raising, you should think about, oh, at this phase, during my growth phase, when I want to start raising, that means you've been running business before, you've been selling, let's say, Zobo before, right? Or let's say you've been selling software product before, but you're thinking of going big, selling to massive people. So at that point, you start thinking about, oh, what's your retention like? Are you closer to product market fit? Do people think that your product is actually good, not something that you don't want to raise so much money to produce massively what people think is actually not good, and they will feel like they'll never buy again. So if you raise money to build something like that, you would actually be wasting money. That is why I said initially you should find a way to test whatever you're building, right? Even if you don't have so much money to build, you could raise a little fund to test what you're building before you start to get the so much capital and you discover that, I mean, you might have to tweak a little things about this, right? Then the next thing is when you're about to scale, we've said it before. One of the key time when you want to raise for your idea is when you want to scale. You already have everything figured out. You know your number, your product works, your market likes the product. At this point, you are ready to go. Then when you figure this, when you know this timeline, these are the times when you should raise, and these are how you should approach them, right? One thing you should have behind your mind is you should start raising before you need the money. I mean, it's a little bit contradictory, right? Because I said raise when you need this, raise when you need this. I mean, I said you should actually have your MVP, a little proof of concept of your product before you actually get to invite people to bring money, because it actually inspire confidence, right? It actually, I would still give us a very practical example on that. It actually inspire confidence, right? But at the same time, you have to start raising before you need the money. So let me clear that. The thing is, when it comes to fundraising, it's just like say you want to get married. You can't approach the lady you want to marry the day you want to marry the lady, right? Which is where we have relationship, we have going out on date and stuff like that. So let's say your plan is to get married next year, December. As of now, let's say you already say, I want to get married next year, December. As of now, you should have somebody that you think is a prospect, right? Probably, even if you don't have anybody that is a prospect, what you can do is probably like, oh, what you can do is go to events, go to places where you can meet people that actually suit what you're looking for. So at that point, you already know that you already have series of actions that will lead to your end goal of getting married, which is going to places, meeting new people, then finding someone that you actually feel like you could connect with, then probably asking the person out on a date to get to know the person. The same thing with fundraising. When you want to raise, let's say you're developing your MVP and you need to raise by December, you should you should start raising by now. The thing is, when it comes to fundraising, it takes a bit of time. Why? Because we are humans. You tell me something now, unless I have so much money that I'm not using, I'll still have to think about it. Right? You say, oh, you're building this amazing product, you figure this out and this and this and this, but you need 1 million. No matter how, I will tell you, let me think about it. I'll get back to you tomorrow. So that means if you need the money today, you can't tell me that you need the money today. You should have actually informed me that you need the money, let's say last week, then follow up with me. So by the time I'm going to make the decision of even giving you the money, it will fall to this week, right? That's the whole concept of raising before you need it. While you are working towards when you need the money, you should start meeting people, meeting investors, preparing ahead of your fundraising. So by the time we get to other part of this conversation, it really makes a lot of sense at that point. So let's examine sourcing for funds, right? We've discussed why you need to raise, what you need to raise, when you need to raise, how you can approach it. We said you should get started before you actually need the money. But what are the sources you can get the fund from? So if you with me and you can hear me clearly, could you please drop 222? If you know that we can move forward to this next section, drop 222 in the chat section so that we can move forward. All right. So let's have 5 people and we can move forward. Let's have 5 people. If you're with us and you want us to move forward, let's have 222 in the chat section so we can move forward. All right, great. Two more, and we move. All right. Guys, let's have it. Or if you think we can move forward, you have questions, we can take questions. If you think we should not move forward at this point. All right, so I believe we do have 5 already. Okay, so let's go forward. So sourcing for funding, right? Sourcing for funding, you understand that you need money, you understand when you need to raise, you understand why you need it. But how can you source for funding, right? The first thing is, yeah, source for funding. One of the sources of money, one of the source that you can finance your idea with is you personally, right? Before nobody would actually believe in your idea. Nobody will commit money to your idea unless you have started committing money to your idea. Which is why one thing is, if you do not have a job, it's a tricky place to actually be when you are the kind of person that develops idea, right? So I would say one thing is find a way to constantly be making money, right? It could be a side gig, it could be a side hustle, it could be freelancing, it could be anything. Find a way that you personally can make money. Because trust me, it will do you good. Because if you need to develop an MVP, imagine you want to test the product, you need to develop an MVP and you have few cash, you could just easily take from your savings and develop your MVP, right? It does makes your building process for your idea, makes it very, very easy so that you don't have to frustrate the beginning of the growth, right? So, which is work fund. You're working, funds that you get paid is one way to finance your idea. If you ask a lot of founders out there, they will say they started their project by financing from their own personal pocket. They've worked somewhere before, they're financing from their own personal pocket and all right. So even if you don't have a job, you can develop a skill that you can interchange for money, a skill that you can exchange that serves a value for somebody and get paid for it, right? And use the money to go start your MVP, to go finance your idea, right? Then the next thing is savings. Like I said, if you have a job, you would have a savings, right? And you can use that to finance your idea. Those are sources of funds for your ideas personally. Then going forward, you can have friends and family, friends, families, and foe, right? So if you have people that you know, they could be sources for your funding as well, right? So let's say you have a family now, a family, you have a brother, sister that have few cash, you could speak to them. You could speak to them when you want to develop either your MVP, you want to scale, or you want to go big with your idea. You could speak with them to get funding, right? That's another source of funding for your business. Then the next one is venture funds, right? So on this venture fund basically are entities. So just the way we have companies that like Dangote, they sell product and stuff like that. We have companies that what they do, they are not banks, right? They are not banks, but what they do is they set up with the goal of they want to invest in businesses. They set up that, oh, what we want to do as a business is we want to invest in business. And by the time we invest in business, we take equity. At a certain point, when the business grows, when business grows very, very big, we cash out from the profit, right? Those are venture funds, right? And when you're approaching that, you can actually get money from them, right? Another thing is angel investors, angel investment. So there are people that you could meet them probably while you traveling, probably while you go for an event, somebody that you are not so close to, right? And they can decide to say, and you can probably be sharing the idea with them, or they can even reach out to you. Oh, I saw what you guys are doing. You're doing amazing stuff, right? And all you guys get to talk and all. they are fascinated by your idea and they do have money, right? They are well to do, and I feel like, oh, do you guys need something? Do you guys need money or something? Those kind of people can actually invest in your idea, and that's another source for you. And the last one is opportunities. Opportunities has to do with funding and grants, basically, right? You've seen sometimes where you see a post online, apply to win millions, right? Pitch and win this, pitch and win that, apply for fellowship and stuff like that. All those opportunity are source of finance for your business, basically. So if you're looking to raise, that could be another source of finance for your business. So we've gone through the sources, right? Your own personal fund. Your own personal fund can be a source. Friends, family. You could, if you have friends and family that have cash, it doesn't have to be so big. I mean, you're doing a project of, let's say you need 1 million for your business. If you have friends that can do 100,000, if you have 5 friends that can do 100,000, I mean, you've been able to acquire half of what you need, right? If you have family that can do 50,000, that assembles, right? I mean, you don't have to do so much. They don't have to do so much individually, right? Then the next thing is venture fund. You could approach venture capital firms to actually get funding. And venture capital firms, they have different means where by which they actually give out funding, right? It could be through startup studio, it could be through um accelerator programs, right? And some others just call for your pitch deck, right? Your proposal. Let me put it that way. So you could just approach them, send them an email, fill a form on their website, and they will review. If you are someone that they feel like they can finance your idea, then if they feel like, oh, this idea is amazing, this person is doing amazing work, get set up a meeting, and from there you get to discuss the details of the funding, and you can close a round from there, right? So and like we said, also savings can be another opportunity. Then last one is opportunities themselves, funding from grants, different grants. Somebody is hosting a pitching event, right? I mean, this happens almost every time. If you look around online, you see a pitch somewhere, grants for business somewhere, grants for SMEs, stuff like this are opportunities you can leverage. I mean, the most popular one in Nigeria is Tony Elumelu Foundation, right? They have an annual grant where they give $5,000 to businesses, right? But the funny thing is, like I said earlier, you should come up with MVP. For a grant like Tony Elumelu now, they prefer that you've actually been doing the business before they actually fund you, which is where the place of grant actually comes in, right? So you have to know that you have to get started, which is where, okay, let's say you're hiring grants like Tony Elumelu, right? Looking for grants like Tony Elumelu, right? You could use your friends and family to raise a little funds, your own personal fund, right? Get the business started, run for a few times, which is you developing your MVP, your traction, then apply for Tony Elumelu, right? Because the requirements could be we don't fund new business. So those are the ways you can actually like mix everything together to arrive at your goal of securing funding for your business, right? But now, let's explore the types of funding, right? Because I did mention at the beginning of this session that not every funds are actually like right for your business or right for your idea, right? So, types of funding. Primarily, there are 3 types of funding, but I've decided to include only 3 here because I'll talk about only 2 here because I'll talk about the 3. But the reason why I included just the 2 is because for people that are looking to convert their idea into business, you see the 3 as the main thing you should really be concerned with. So let's get started. First types of funding is equity funding, right? So equity funding simply means it's on the screen, but I would explain it the way that makes it very easy for us to understand. So equity funding simply means that you have an idea, you want to turn your idea to a business. So let's say I'm in my room now, I'm thinking, all the zopos that I've actually bought, like in supermarket, malls and all, they don't really taste good. I have a special recipe that I can develop and it tastes good. I mean, that was how Coca-Cola started, right? So what I can do is let's say we've developed a little bit of the MVP, we sold like 100 of it, and feel like, oh, we sold 100, we can do better, we can sell 1,000. At that point, you can raise funds and get equity investment. Equity investment simply means we will turn the small business of selling 100 Zobo, we'll turn it to a company on its own. We'll register the business with the government and we'll say, because I am the owner of the idea, I would own, let's say, 80% of the company, and somebody that is bringing 1 million naira or 2 million naira to finance the business would own 20% of the company. So by the time we get to make profit from selling 1,000 units, 2,000 units, 10,000 units of the product, whatever profits we make, right, the net profit, by the time we want to share the net profit, I would also take 80% of the net profit. The person that brought the cash will take 20% of the business of the profit. That's basically equity financing. Equity financing simply means you own the company with other people, right? People have stakes in your business, and this can people that can finance you for this type of financing could be angel investors, like we mentioned initially. It could be venture capital firms. It could be impact investors, right? Impact investors are just people that are concerned about, oh, they want to make impact in a particular industry. They are not so particular about profit, but their primary goal is, I want to make impact in the health industry. I mean, people are apparently, a lot of people are actually dying or so. So, I mean, or people are dying of polio in Africa. So, I'm the kind of person that have the cash. I'm passionate about health. So, I want to invest in any business that is developing a cure for polio. But at the same time, I can own 20% in the business. So, that's equity financing primarily. And then the next one is debt financing. Debt financing is when you borrow money to finance your idea or your business. So you could go to banks. So let's say everybody know what debt is. It's simply you borrowing money to finance whatever you're doing, right? And you can get debt financing from different sources, right? You could get it from banks, right? You could get it from private equity, right? Which is venture capital firms, right? You can get it from individual. I mean, your brother can borrow you money to actually finance your business, right? A lot of people can borrow you money. So the options are open, right? It depends on how you speak to people and what their interest is. So that's what will determine how you can get debt financing. And the last one, which is the third one, is equity-free investment. So, we mentioned initially that there's equity funding, right? And we've said equity funding is people taking a particular stake in your business. So, equity-free, equity, now putting free at the back. Equity-free simply means that the person is just giving you free cash. An example of that is Tony Ilumelu Foundation. So, what they do is annually they look for businesses that are building, they've been running, right? And they want to expand or something and they need cash. Tony Olumelu Foundation would invest 5,000 naira, $5,000 in those businesses, and they also train them. And this $5,000, Tony Melu is not taking anything. The foundation is not taking anything. It's just like somebody's dashing you money. That's what equity financing, equity free financing is. That's what equity free financing is basically, right? So I believe we hope gaining value from here. So the next one is finding the right funds. Now we already know the types of fund. We already know where we can get it from. Who can provide different types of funds, right? We know who can provide it. But now, how do we find the right funds for your business? Like it's on the screen. Before you approaching an investor, you need to ask yourself the question of what kind of investment do you need? I mean, if you're the kind of person that you feel like I want to own my business. I want to have my own business all to myself, right? I don't want anybody to be disturbing me, paying income. Have you made profit? Have you not made profit? And all like that. That means you will be the person that you're not looking for equity financing at all. So equity financing is completely out of the kind of funds you'll be looking at. So if somebody say, oh, I want to give you 10 million, the first thing you ask is it equity financing? And when the person say yes, you say, oh, sorry, I'm not taking equity financing at this time, right? I'm not taking equity financing at this time. So knowing what you're looking for, they help you find the right thing on time. You get it? So that's why you need to know what type of financing is that you're looking for. So, and now, as we've discussed earlier, we discussed the type, right? The equity free, equity based financing. We've discussed debt financing. So if you're somebody that you're looking for financing that actually not equity, right? One thing you could do is, you could look for Tony Elumelu funds, right? Tony Elumelu can actually like offer you very good investment without actually taking a dime from you.
Right.
So that's actually what plays into you knowing where to get the right funding. Like we've said earlier, friends, family, and foe, they can get you funding. But what determines who you approach is what you're looking for, right? So these are the places you can get the fund. But what will determine what you get from them is the type of funding you're looking for. So if you're looking for free funding, I mean, you could speak to your friend, your family. If your dads believe in you, if your mom believe in you, they can give you 100,000 to start your business for free. But if you're looking for free funding, you could approach hackathons. There are some hackathons that they just give you free money. There's some incubation programs that give you free funding, probably incubation programs that are set up by government and stuff like that, right? But when you're looking at equity funding, right, you don't mind people owning a part of the business with you. You can start considering angel investor, impact investor, venture capital firms, different private equity firms, right? So this is pretty straightforward. Now that we've known how we can actually get funds and where we can get funds from, right? How do we pitch our idea? Earlier I said raising fund is you selling your idea to get money. Either you're even getting the money for free or you're getting it on equity based or you're borrowing it, right? You have to be able to communicate. The word selling is you being able to communicate, right? Sales is all about you communicating the reason why the person should give you what is with them. I have money. Why should I give you my money? So you have to sell me the reason. Selling me the reason means you have to convince me, let me see from your perspective why I should part with my money and give it to you to go build your business, to go build your idea, right? That is what leads us to pitching your idea. So pitching your idea, the word pitch simply means you just craft a message to sell, like we said, sell your idea to someone, right? It could be in a well-organized pitch event where people just come, they talk about their business, people compete, and they actually pick, let's say, top three winners, and they are funded, they win the grant and stuff like that. It could be in this, right? But pitching your idea, what we'll be discussing today about pitching your idea is just these four things that are under, right? When it comes to pitching your idea, that is communicating your idea to people to get funds from them, there are four things you should primarily consider. As you can see on the screen, the business are different. That's because of the importance. Because people are, especially when it's people that are actually concerned about getting profit from your business, right? They are concerned about the growth. The first thing is value proposition. You want to make sure that when you're pitching whatever you're communicating, whatever idea that you have that you need fund from, you want to make sure that it has value. I mean, you don't want to say, I mean, I've seen some very interesting scenarios like, oh, I want to travel to somewhere. I don't have cash. Can you give me 50K for free? And I'm like, what's in it for me? I mean, if there's a place of I want to do giveaway for you, and there's a place of me expecting that if I give you money for something, I mean, I should get something in return, just like you going to the market to get something. Imagine you go to the market to get a laptop, and the vendor that is selling the laptop is saying, don't worry, just give me 500K and you can go home. You're like, are you serious? What's the name for me? Right? So that is one very important thing about pitching your idea. Value proposition is all about what value does your idea, beyond even benefiting the person that is giving you money, does your idea even have value? It's not just about saying, because you told us already that we've shared already that we can raise money for ideas, right? We can raise money for, which is quite possible. We can raise money for idea, we can raise money for things. That doesn't mean you should just sit down and just wake up one day with something that is an idea. Every idea is an idea, but does not have value. I feel like somebody should give you $1 million for that. Nobody really owes you money, right? So before even considering why the person should give you money, that is the value that the person will be getting in return, you should consider that, does your idea even have value to people generally? Value in the sense that, let's say you are developing an idea now, your idea should be solving a problem for someone. That's the primary thing. That's the primary thing. The primary function of any idea. Either is solving a problem for you or for other people. If you develop an idea that solves problem for three people, you only get paid from three people. But if you develop an idea that solves problem for 1 million people, You get prep from a million people, right? And you can get one person to finance the entire operation. So first, your idea must have value, solving a problem for someone. Then when you're raising fund for your idea, you're pitching your idea. It must also find a way to resonate and deliver value to the person. So let's say I'm the kind of person that I'm passionate about. Oh, let's even take example now. Let's take Bill Gates now. Bill Gates is the kind of person that is passionate about health, and particularly in Africa. He's passionate about health in Africa. He has been financing uh, campaigns against portfolio, funding drugs and stuff like that. So let's say you're someone that is developing, yeah, that you have an idea in the health industry, right? The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your idea actually solves problem for people that are in Africa. It solves real problem for them, not just an idea to get money from Bill Gates. One, it must solve problem for those people in Africa. Since you're in the health industry, so what are the health challenges that they're having? Does your idea solve problem for them? Then the next thing is, um, does your idea actually deliver value to Bill Gates? Does it resonate with the values and visions that Bill Gates have personally in terms of health? Then the next thing is competitive advantage. Can your idea compete in the market? It's not about just coming with an idea. If you're running business, if you're not doing business, if you're doing NGO, it's fine. But if you're running business, if you're turning your idea to a business, can your idea compete in the marketplace? What makes you different? You're not just doing what everybody's doing. What makes you different? Why should somebody choose your product over other people's product? Differentiation, competition. Can you compete? What's the competitive advantage? Then the next thing is the market opportunity. You've discovered this, right? You've done value proposition, you've done competitive advantage, but the next thing is the market opportunity. Is the market even available to sell your product to? So let's say you want to sell a product that the number of people that are actually available in that market is just 100 people. I already have two people that are selling product to those 100 people already. You coming into the market, that means you also be selling to those 100 people. That means three people will be sharing a market of 100 people. So what are the market opportunities? Do you even have an understanding of your market? I mean, you can do research, know what your market should be about before you actually start raising money for your idea. Because by the time you start raising money for your idea, if you approach people that are actually intellectual, they will ask you questions about your market. What's your market size? Market size means how many people are even available that you can potentially sell your products to. So you should know things like this before you start to pitch your idea. Then the next thing you should figure out is growth, your growth strategy. If you develop the product, do you want to stay at selling 100 units of Zobo per day, or you plan on distributing in bulk to restaurants, to different places? What's your growth strategy? Don't play small. So when you understand this and you address everything under these four areas, it makes it easy for you to communicate to somebody why they should give you money to go develop your idea, right? Then the next thing is preparing for financing. I mean, this is quite amazing, right? This is interesting because it's not financing or raising fund money for your idea. It's not just you waking up one day and approaching people for money. Then it's a journey on its own. That means you have to prepare for it. So how can you prepare for your financing? What are the things you need to do? The first thing you need to do is understanding your market. It still goes back to the previous slide. Understanding your market. There are a lot about understanding your market. Understanding your market. I mean, when it comes to understanding your market, people make a lot of mistakes. There's a particular article uh by an investor, a respected investor in Nigerian ecosystem. Her name is Dr. Ola Brown. She wrote an article about the Nigerian market and African market itself. It's completely different market from US. So if you want to sell, let's say you are living in US, you want to come develop a product or sell something to people in Nigeria, you need to understand the market. So the first thing you need to do is understanding your market. The next thing is you need to develop a solid business plan and business model. Your business model, you should have a way to make money, right? It doesn't mean you are making, there's some business that you can run, and the first thing is it's free for people. But at the end, there should be an overall plan, a grand plan, just like you are playing chess.
Please bear with us. It's like we lost the speaker for some minutes. I think he should be able to reconnect and join us. soon. Please, if you can hear me, just say you are with me in the comment section so we know we are together. Hello? Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you. Please, let's just wait for some minutes. I hope it joins. Yes, I think we lost him due to network and all. So I think he has carried us through many journey, like a lot of information concerning funding. So I'll be asking, in case you have a question, you can drop it in the comment section. And in case you don't understand maybe some of the terminologies that he said about financing, you can drop, okay, I don't understand this part. I would love you to expatiate on this topic more. So we can actually work on it together. If you are with me, you can type your question in the comment section. If you have questions about the topic we've been discussing, funding and financing your ideas. Or all of us, we understood all that the speaker said, I believe. Hello, you can unmute yourself and respond. Okay. Somebody said I got in late, power issue from my end.
I do. I understand what the speaker has been saying.
Okay. Thank you. In case you want to write a feedback to us on how we can improve the program or what other things we can do to make this kind of session better, you can type in the comment section. So I have a question, and I would love if somebody can actually answer, because I believe all of us here, we do understand what the speaker has been saying. So if you just started your business today, okay, I think it's back. Let me just finish my question. If you have a business today and you want to make,
can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you. Welcome back. I just want to take 2 minutes to ask the question because they said they all understand. Please, if you have a business today and you want to raise funds from family, friends, and foes, what will you do? Will you write a pitch deck to your family and friends, or will you just do a dine and wine session, or will you just do a WhatsApp message, uncle, give me so thousands of naira? What will you do in that kind of scenario? I'm just asking. I would love a creative answer from the audience. They said they understood all you said for today. Before you continue, sir, and somebody answer that question amidst the audience. Wow. Wow. Do you all get my question at all? Okay, let me ask the speaker then. Speaker Femi, you can help us answer this question. I am asking on behalf of people. I have a business. I want to raise from family and friends, and foe. Based on the emotional relationship we
I was
have
trying
with.
to answer.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Please, yes, answer.
Okay, so I think you were saying in synopsis, you want to raise friends and money from your friends, family, and what have you. So what I usually say is that where are your values aligned, and in terms of purposes, like the speaker said, where are the purposes intersected? If someone, for example, doesn't have so much interest in shoes, right, doesn't have interest in shoes, and you're asking the person to invest in the shoes, they might not see it as valuable, right? Or he gave a beautiful example. One of my mentors in another school, Unila, got 900 million for a research grant because Bill Gates gave that money. So he's very passionate about research in health. So if he wants to give grants, or if someone wants to give you grants, they must find it as valuable, right? And something that's passionate. If not, they're not going to give you money. So where are your values aligned? Where are your purposes intersected? And where do they stand to benefit, like he said, to in the long run? Right? It could be that maybe they're getting credit, or maybe there's even some remuneration that will happen there afterwards. Yeah.
Awesome. The speaker, so you can actually elaborate on this question. I said,
Okay.
I love what he said. He answered like value, the means, understanding the giver of the funds, mission and vision. I said, how? What process? What process will you deploy to getting it? Will you write a pitch deck to your family and friends? Will you just want to do a dine and wine session with them such that you are familiar and just ship in your request? Or will you just say, yes, uncle, I know you have that money. I know you are a family member, you are rich. Drop the money on WhatsApp chat. How that approach, it's very different from all this Bill
Yeah.
Gates people, then fund investors and all. So that's my question.
All right. So the thing is Toby was like absolutely correct on what he said, right? I think what he said will be your starting point. Check the person you want to approach. What's the person's value, right? There are people that, okay, we can have two different people, a family member. They both have cash. They both have the money. They have the money. But one person is the kind of person that it's a free kind of person. Once you understand and believe in what you're doing, you can just say, okay, don't worry, send me your account number, send me the company's account number, I'll transfer to your account number by so date, right? But there are some other people that, not that they are bad or they are strict, they just try to understand things better. So you could speak to them, like you already understand what kind of person the person is. You speak to them and they tell you, oh wow, I like your idea. Can you send me your business plan tomorrow morning by Monday? I mean, we can get started from there. So that is where the place of understanding the person, knowing what the kind of person, like Toby said, when you understand the person, you know the best way to go. So if I know that, oh, this person is the kind of person that once I get to convince him, right, over dinner or anything, that this idea works, it necessarily does not ask for documents and stuff like that. You can go that way. But if you know the other person is, oh, this person, for the other person, what I would do is I could even get started, right? We could even get discussing on a dinner, right? And I'll be like, oh yeah, but I actually came with the business plan, right, or a pitch deck. I mean, I could leave this with you, and you could go over it during the weekend. Then probably I'll check back with you on Monday. It's all about starting from understanding the person and preparing ahead, right?
Thank you so much. I believe the audience, you've learned one or two from this. So somebody asked in the comment section, are there verified resources to boost our awareness on this financing aspect? Do you have a personal resources as a speaker? Because I know you are vast in this area.
Yeah, so I do have some resources. I have articles on Medium that I actually like put out sometimes, right? But I mean, there are a lot of things you can actually like learn from. One of the sources you can actually learn from more is Y Combinator. Y Combinator, just like I mentioned before, is an accelerator, a VC firm, but they do have an accelerator program. So they take in companies and fund them. I think currently the funds are about $500,000 for each company that gets into the accelerator, and they have a YouTube channel. So that means even if you don't get into the accelerator, you could go to the YouTube channel and learn more about financing, learn about business finance in general. So you could use that as your starting point. And you could also check my article and other things. I mean, it's an open space to learn. Just get on the internet.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that resource. So somebody have this question. He said, I would love to talk more about market opportunity and growth strategy. I think you're about to elaborate on that.
Yeah, I believe so. So, mind the hacks. Where was the last thing you heard me share?
Okay, I think we were on. I can see your slide. I think where you were actually, yes, this is where
This
we are.
slide, right?
Yes, this is where we are.
Okay. So, like we were saying before, value proposition, competitive advantage, and market opportunity, then growth strategy. Like the person, so I'll just use that chance to brief over what the person asks. Talking more about market opportunity. This is it. When you talk about market opportunity, it's about the potential of you selling to that market. So let me give this example hypothetically. So let's say hi and Toby now, we're starting a business, right? We want to start selling bottled water to people, right? Or let's say bottled water is too vague. Let's use Zobo now. Everybody knows Zobo. It's a local drink in Nigeria. But let's say we want to start selling Zobo now. But because hi and Toby, we are in UK now. We are in UK. I feel like we can start selling Zobo in UK. But you know that if you critically look at our market, the UK population, you know that the only people that will actually like be very, very easy to actually get as our market for people for them to buy our product are probably Nigerians or Africans that are in UK, right? It will now be delusional. It will be delusional for us to think that the entire UK population, we can sell to them. Yeah, we can sell to them. Probably some people feel like, oh, we are doing marketing. People are seeing our product on the shelf, and they can say like, what's even this drink? We've had that moment before that you just see a drink, you're just curious how it will taste like. You can buy it, then you like it. You keep buying it, you tell people about it, right? That can happen. But to start with, our main market, our main target there would be the African guys, especially Nigerians, that they know about this thing before, right? It's easy to get them. Those will be the early believers, early buyers of our product. So another thing that's just to like make it very simple in a very illustrative way, right? There's something when you look at looking at the market, which I said market sizing. There's something about market sizing. There's your total market size, right? Total market size is the entire people that are available that you think you can sell to. In our case now, the entire UK is the total market size. But that does not mean that is the people that we can actually start selling to now. Because an Englishman that is used to taking coffee and tea, and you are making a cold zobo, you'll be like, what is this? I don't even know. This thing looks very red or dark. You get? So that's the thing. Because we have a total market, right? That does not mean that's the actual market we can start with. The thing is, total market shows you what is possible. On the long run, we can start to sell to the main population. So after your total market, this is how you break your market down. Your total market, look at what's potentially possible available. Then you look at, oh, what's your serviceable market? Serviceable market is out of the UK population, what are the people that we think can easily can actually like buy our product, which if they are being realistic would be the Nigerians. And another thing that determines your serviceable market is your capacity to produce. UK population is in millions. If you think you are just starting your Zobo business, we are just starting our Zobo brand, and we only have $1,000 to start producing. Obviously, we can't say that the first month we will sell to the entire UK population. Even if they want to buy, we don't have the funds to produce, right? So the serviceable market. Then the next thing is the obtainable market. You have obtainable after the serviceable. Obtainable market is that portion of the market that you know that you are being serious with yourself. If you wake up in the midnight and you are being sincere with yourself, no lies, you know that these are the people that you can actually like sell to, right? Based on one, your resources that are available and because they would easily buy. And that would now leave us to, oh, let's say we have in UK now, let's say we are in a particular area, we have like 500 Nigerian people there. Our obtainable market with these 500 people because we can easily produce Zobo for 500 people and sell it to them. They are ready to buy. They know about this product before. It makes it easy for them to buy. So we have to understand this. And there are a lot of, apart from even them being able to buy, there are other things that play into this. When you even look at your obtainable market, out of your obtainable market, there's still another segment of your obtainable market that you should focus on. Why? Let me give you an example. So let's say you are selling iPhone in Nigeria now. You know that if you are selling iPhone or laptop in Nigeria, they are telling you that the Nigerian population is over 200 million, right? And that you think that's probably your total market, right? But you put that in a pitch deck or you tell somebody that your total market is 200 million. For me, that I know about the market very well, I will tell you, oh, that's nice. But I know within me that you actually don't know about your market. The reason being that if you tell me your total market is 200 million, you've not accounted for the fact that over 100 million in Nigeria are below poverty line. That means they don't even spend up to $1, up to 500 naira feeding themselves in a day. So if you say your total market is 200 million Nigerian population, somebody that can't spend up to $1 in a day to feed themselves obviously cannot buy an iPhone that is in thousands, hundreds of thousands of naira. You see how you understand your market now. When you now cut those ones away, about 100 million, you leave the struggle, you are left with the remaining 100 million. Part of that remaining 100 million in your number of people that are available that you can sell to, you know that there are some people that are actually in the struggling category. Those ones, they are struggling. They are the one that their children is probably going to public school, private school, but the private school self, they're probably like sending them out for school fees. And the private school is not so expensive private school. Those kind of people can not buy your laptop. Then when you look at the people that can buy your laptop again, you look at your market again, you find the middle class. The middle class are probably civil servant, they have job. If they take loans, possibly if they take loans or save or anything, they have a job, they take loan and all, they can actually afford it. But it's not immediately that they can afford it. Then when you now look at it, a very, very small portion of it, when you keep looking at your market critically and keep examining it based on their level of income, their lifestyle, their culture, things that they value and all, you discover that at the end of the day, out of the population of 2 million Nigerians that we have, about let's say 2 million, maximum 5 million people can actually buy a laptop. So if you pitch into a business to an investor that you want to start developing laptop, producing laptop in Nigeria, it will be very cheap, it will be very good, it will be custom made to Nigeria. It's a very interesting idea for people that believe in Nigerian made product. But if you are being objective about running business and you tell them that the total population is 200 Nigerian citizens, they will know that you're just playing. So that's one important thing about understanding your market. When you even understand your market, apart from raising funds, it serves you better as an investor, as a founder or person with the idea to know the product to focus on. Because if you are building a product for 200 million Nigeria, you want to factor what does people in this place think, what does people in this place think. But actually, if you now look at it critically, you discover it's only 2 million people that you actually need to care what they think about your product. You see the difference between building for 2 million people and building for 200 million people. So you have to understand the opportunity in your market. Because you found a gap in the market. Oh, people need and this. That's the gap in the market. Oh, let's say people in Lagos, they don't have bottled water. That's the gap in the market. And you think you can start producing bottled water. But that does not mean that there is a market in that gap. The market being in that gap is the people that can actually afford to buy bottled water when they are going to work. Do we get that? All right. Okay. Then, okay, Joseph, I have a question. Let me take that on growth strategy. Then we'll take your question. Then the next thing is growth strategy. Growth strategy is more about sales and expansion of the business. So you're talking about growth strategy now. So let's say you have you're selling you're having a business. You're selling, let's say, Zobo now. You're selling 100 units. If you're raising fund, for me to commit funds to your hand, I would ask you, if you say you want to sell 10,000 units, I will ask you, what's the plan to sell 10,000 units? I mean, if you're telling me, okay, what you do is once you get the money, you rent a building, you produce, you get machine, you produce 10,000 units immediately and start selling. I will know that one, your plan would fail. Not that I'm shooting your idea down, but the reason why I would know is because I've seen the experience of if you're producing any consumable product in Nigeria like that, before you produce in bulk, the first thing you do is you go and get NAFDAC. But because if you don't get a NAFDAC certification, no restaurant, no big supermarket will actually take your product. So distributing the 10,000 units you've produced will be very, very, very hard for you. That means you probably be selling 100 units per month. So before you sell, if you have produced 10,000 units, before you finish selling them in batch of 100, the remaining will probably have expired. That means you waste my fund. Do you understand? So you have to beyond that, beyond the product itself, you have to now have a marketing perspective around it. Do you even know what it takes to sell your product and stuff like that? And in that place, you probably need to discuss with a marketing person, a salesperson. Oh, what's the plan? How can we sell to this market and stuff like that? It's completely different when you not even take it to software product or to digital product, right? So, Joseph, let's take your question so that you can go forward. Joseph, you're raising your hand.
It's actually a comment, an addition to the point you made last.
Oh, let's have it. That would be nice.
I just wanted to add that if you were going to the UK with Nollywood films, for instance, while you are looking at the whole UK as your total market, you can't be looking at only Nigerians who have started getting worried that their children are forgetting their culture.
Yeah.
You can look at those ones as your obtainable market, and they may not be as many. It might not even be all the Nigerians. It will be only those who are getting worried. Then they will start thinking, okay, I need to let my children watch Nollywood films. So you will see that they are like maybe 2 million out of the 200 million that the UK population might be. I just wanted to add that that the Nollywood film would now be an attraction to only few Nigerians who are there already, who
Mm,
also have the interest. That
yeah,
is just the addition I wanted to make. Thank you.
right. Thank you very much, Joseph, for that example. I mean, that's a brilliant example to even like illustrate understanding your market. That's a brilliant example. Like you said, you're selling Nollywood movie in UK. Obviously, apart from the entire UK population, right? You can't even sell to them because you can't sell you a Nollywood movie to a UK person that does not understand Yoruba or the African language, right? So the only case where you can actually say to that kind of person is if the person is interested in, oh, I want to visit Nigeria, I want to visit Africa, and I want to understand a bit of their language. That kind of person can buy your movie, but their number is very small. When you now even look at it as Nigerian that you might consider as, like I said, Nigerians you can consider as your primary market. Not every Nigerian in the UK would actually want people to their kids to learn, like I said. So I mean that's an amazing illustration. Thank you very much for that addition, Joseph. I really appreciate that. So let's move forward now. Preparing for financing. So we've understood our market, we know what we need to do right before pitching our idea. Now, preparing for financing. Like I said before, raising money for your idea, it's a journey. So you have to prepare for it. So what are the things you need to do to actually prepare for financing? The first thing you need to do is you need to understand your market, which is what we just discussed now. So if you understand your market now, if you really, really do understand your market, you will not raise money to sell Nollywood movie to all the UK population because the money will waste. Even if you buy the movie, those guys will actually know you'll not be able to sell it to them. So you understand that. If you really understand your market, you will know exactly what you need. So when you're telling an investor that you need 100 million to buy movies, you'll be like, how many people will be buying the movies from you? So when you now really sit down and understand your market, you discover that you probably only need 5 million to actually buy a movie, right? And export them. Then the next thing is, let's say the next thing is develop your solid business plan, right? So let's say you want to, let's use Joseph example now. You want to sell Nollywood movie. You think, oh, interesting. Instead of me moving the disc and all, there's a risk of if I send the movie through DHL or anything, or if I move it through my traveling bag when I'm traveling out, some of them can break and all. And I mean, if you look at the UK now, things are so advanced that people most time might not have DVD in their house again. They might not have CD players in their house again. They are so glued to Netflix, internet, streaming online, YouTube, and stuff like that. So you might think, oh, instead of me using a disc, right, as my business model, what if I develop a website? What I just do is I buy the disc in Nigeria, I copy the movie, or I get the movie from those guys that actually buy copying the movie. That will be piracy. So what you do is you speak to the movie producers. Oh, I would like to make your movie available on my platform that is targeted at UK audience. That way, your business model will move from you going to buy the disc from the producer. It's move from you getting a soft copy, right, of the movie and upload it on your platform. So you have to understand, you have to develop a solid business plan and model that would work for your market. If it's for Nigeria, you could get the license to distribute the physical card. Maybe a few people are still actually using DVD player, but when you're going to UK, you want people to stream online, right? Then the next thing is you want to assemble an A team. Whatever you're doing, you need a team to work with you on your idea. So you want to make sure that you are getting the best team possible, right? Not that doesn't mean you should be so expensive, but you must get the best team that can get the job done. Then the next thing is understand your business numbers, right? So let's say you want to start selling Zobo now, right? I and Joseph are selling Zobo now, right? And we are approaching Ayo. Oh, Ayo, we would like you to invest in our business. We'll be selling Zobo. But we're telling Ayo that, oh, we won't sell Zobo to the UK market and we need 500 million to start selling Zobos. And I'm like, oh, that's great, that's great. So what's the cost of selling Zobo to all the UK population? I was like, they're like, the cost, they're not sure, but hold on, let us calculate. We are doing calculator and all. After we give him the number, we're like, okay, so if you spend this so amount on producing the Zobo, you spend so amount on exporting it to UK, or will you be will you be importing the raw materials and producing it in UK? You've answered the question. We're like, okay, that's nice. What would be your profit on each bottle? And we're like, okay, hold on, let us calculate. Now turn our back to him. We're calculating, oh, this and this, take 5 minutes. that does not give you a good image as an entrepreneur, as a person that have an idea, as an entrepreneur. That does not give you good image. You should understand your business number. I mean, at the basic form, right? You should understand that you can easily have conversations with your investor, because you're raising fund. You're not just waking up one day and having casual conversation. So you should have gone over your numbers that, oh, I'm raising 10 million naira to produce this product, and this would be my cost of producing it. The remaining cash would be for marketing. And after marketing and paying employees, and after all this, the revenue will be so number, and the profits from that revenue will be XYZ. It gives a very good image of this person even knows. It inspires confidence, because they feel like, oh, this person knows what he's doing, knows his business very well. The person knows his onions, right? It inspires confidence within you, within the investor, right? And the next thing is, you have to become a legal entity. Unless you'll be getting funding from your friends and family who might not really care like that. When you're getting money from investor, even people that give you grants, they want to ensure that your business or your idea is a legal entity. Being a legal entity means you get it registered with the government. So when you register and you incorporate your business, it becomes a legal entity, right? You can read more about businesses become legal entities, right? So you need to do that, because if you want to get funding, let's say hypothetically now from Tony Lumelu, the first thing they will ask is your registration documents. So if you want to get funding, you're looking for $5,000 from Tony Lumelu, you will not be able to get it if you don't have a registration document, if you are not a legal entity in Nigeria. You see, so those are the options. And we are looking to raise in different geography. You want to understand what the requirement looks like before you actually put in the water. Let's say you are raising in UK now. If you have been registered as a business in Nigeria, if you want to raise funds, probably a grant from the UK government, you obviously know that you have to register your business again in UK so that you can easily get money from their government, right? So those are the things you need to do when you're preparing for financing, right? Then the next thing is power of networking, right? So everything we've said, it's an amazing thing, right? We've learned a lot, right? But there's one thing that I've discovered that can actually render everything that we've learned now, render it useless and make it just pure theory. I'll be brutally honest with us at this point, is networking. When it comes to funding your business and raising funds, network is important. There's this phrase that I always use casually, that your network is your net worth. It's very, very important when it comes to raising funds for your business. The reason being that when you want to raise fund, it's so hard for you to meet somebody in the market or on the street or probably in a conference, and the person say, I'm raising this and this and this. Even though you have the money in your account, I mean, would you send the money to the person? I mean, would you just, someone that you met at an event, for, let's say you met the person at an event yesterday, the person, you exchange contact, the person today, the person is pitching an idea to you, a business, even though they've been having traction, will you commit 10 million naira to the person? You don't really know the person that much. So that is one very key thing that would empower you to be able to raise funds and make everything that we've learned so far very useful. It is networking. Either you are raising money from friends and family, that means you have a network with them. You know them. Networking is all about building relationship with people, getting to know people more and more, and building relationship with a lot of people. When you have quality relationship with a lot of people, and they see you as a person of value, you have a lot of options of who to get money from, either friends, family, venture firms, anything, right? Because let's take for example the friends and family. If you don't have a good relationship with your family, they will hardly actually give you money. I mean, you can't give money to someone that you're actually fighting. If you don't have a good relationship with your friends, you've not been a good friend, the chances of you getting funds from them is very low. Then when it comes to venture funding, right? There's something that works in the venture industry, which took me personally a couple of years to actually discover, is the fact that apart from what is going on online, everybody's saying, oh, apply for this, send your pitch deck to our email, upload the pitch deck on our website. We are funding startups, we are funding this and this and this. Network is very important. If you know somebody in the organization, it makes it easy. It's not eye service, it's not corruption, it's networking. I would like to boil down on that. I would like to double down on that. It's networking. So let me give you an example. So let's say I run a VC firm now. my job as a VC firm is to fund businesses. But now on this call, I've gotten to know Joseph, right? And because I've gotten to Joseph has spoken in this call now, right? We probably connected via LinkedIn. We got to discuss a couple of time and all. If I have a VC fund now and I want to start funding people the next quarter, if Joseph reach out to me because he already has my email, we already talking before, we have a good relationship. If he reach out to me that he's having a business idea and he wants to do this and this and this, even though it's at idea stage, it makes it easy for me to actually believe in him because I have some level of relationship and trust in him. One thing that is important when it comes to people giving you money is trust. And the only way you can gain trust is not just by meeting somebody at one event and you are pitching your idea to them. Trust me, there has been places of, oh, you can meet somebody in an elevator. The theory has always been, what if you meet Bill Gates in an elevator? I mean, you can pitch your idea to him and he'll give you money. But I would tell you that, to be very sincere, the chances of Bill Gates giving you money, if you meet him in an elevator and you pitch your idea to him, no matter how superb your idea is, the chances are very small. Because one, if you meet him, the only thing he would do is he would take interest in your idea, right? And he will invite you for a meeting. And the reason for inviting you for the meeting is to get to know you. So rather than you just meeting somebody somewhere randomly and pushing your idea that you're raising from down their throats, according to what the theory has taught most people that, oh, pitch simply means you should be able to develop a pitch that if you meet somebody in an elevator, you can pitch to them, tell them your idea in 30 seconds, 1 minute, you get your idea to them and they pick interest. You should build a relationship with them, right? If I meet Bill Gates in an elevator now, I would not pitch any idea to him. Rather, what I would do is I've read a little bit about some of his work in Africa. I've read about his work with Jimovia and other big entrepreneurs in Africa. What I would do is, I would say, that's an amazing work that you've been doing. I mean, I read the history as at 2011, you've done this and this. I mean, thank you so much for believing in Africa. I mean, it's an amazing work, right? I would just speak to him on the basis of I want to network with him. By the time I network with him, it makes it easy. One, I already have access to him. So what I would do is I'll be strategic. If I know that Bill Gates is coming for an event in Africa, in Nigeria again, I'll make sure that I'm at that event because I already met him in an elevator. But if I'm at that event, if we see again, it makes I'm not a stranger to him again. We can say, yes, it makes it look like we are two people that know each other already. They are missing again. We could just discuss a little bit about what's going on in the event. I establish another level of presence and network with him, right? And on the long run, let's say after the 2-3 times of meeting, of discussing and all, I cannot get to push my idea to him. See, I will tell you for a fact that is the best way to raise funds, not going online, pitching to people, writing code mail to people. Right, code mail actually works, right? But the chances are like 1 out of 100. And the reason why I said this is, trust me, at the early stage of trying to bootstrap and run some businesses, I had done all this and I figured out what works. And for me, I believe that sharing what works with you is what will actually make your journey easy. Let me give you another example. There's a particular time we were trying to raise funds for a particular business. And in one single night, not the whole day, not an entire day, not from morning to evening, from around evening, 7 before 12 midnight, I sent email to over 400 people, 400 investors. Not email that I sent to them together. I sent email to everybody one after the other to ensure that their name is on the email. I didn't use any automated to put their name, everything, copy their email address, sent it to over 400 people. Guess what? I only got response for about 3-4 people, right? And the reason is because I didn't understand some things I'm sharing with us now, which I will also share later, right? One, the power of networking, the power of even knowing the kind of funding that you want. I've mentioned that before, and knowing the kind of investor that actually fits you. So let's say, like I said before, you're raising for a business that in the finance industry, right? And you are writing to Bill Gates. If Bill Gates is investing now, he would, because he's so passionate about us in Africa, he will prefer to invest. He will first consider someone that is developing or doing the research in health for Africa before he actually consider fintech for Africa. Not because fintech or finance is bad, running banking and stuff is bad, but because personally, to him, he prioritized and is passionate about health in Africa. So if you don't know your investors, you just be talking to the wrong person, which is where you'll be wasting the person's time and wasting your own time. So part of networking is you get to know the person, get to know what the person interest is, what things they do, where they have area of interest. So there are some investors that they invest only in agriculture. So if you are doing health, because you've pitched health to Bill Gates, he gave you 50 million. You saw another investor and you didn't do your due diligence of researching, getting to know the person, what they invest in. You can read about them online. This is quite simple, right? But because you didn't do that, you started pitching your health idea to the person because you got 50 million from Bill Gates. And I'm saying, even Bill Gates has invested 50 million. So I think you should bring your money. The thing is, your idea is actually good. Bill Gates believed in it. He gave you 50 million, but the person will not give you money because the person is not passionate, is not even interested in health. The person is only interested in agriculture. So these are the parts where you actually need to understand, right? So you need to know that investing, apart from knowing the theory, it's all about networking, right? Let me give you another example about networking, right? So okay, I'll mention this when I start discussing the navigating the funding process. So now let's move to navigating funding process. For us to navigate fund, like I mentioned earlier, funding is a journey, right? For you to navigate the process easily, after understanding everything that we've discussed, you've done your work already, you've done everything on your own part. The next thing you need to do is you need to identify potential investors, right? You know the different sources you can get money from, right? Let's say, for example, you want to get money from friends and family. Obviously, not all your friends and family will be rich. And if all your friends and family are rich, because they are rich does not mean they have the cash easily available. If you know what being rich simply means, it means you have money in assets in businesses that are running. And people that are rich, they actually don't keep cash sitting with them like the average middle class people do. Keep money sitting down in the bank. They know that the money is supposed to be out there working for them. So even if you have friends and family that are rich, the thing is, I want to identify who is doing who. So let's say your brother now or your uncle is rich now, right? You know he's rich. In the process of identifying potential investor, what you want to note is that, oh, probably your uncle is working on a project currently and is spending so much money and he has not completed the project. Obviously, you will add the person to the list of your investor, but he will not be number one because the probability of him giving you money when he is also financing another project is small compared to someone that is probably not on any project, right? He has finished his project, he's already making money, and it's just like probably he's just at the phase where he's not doing any project. The probability is higher with that kind of person. So you have to identify who your potential investors are, either they are friends and family, and when you move outside, either it's what's it called? Either it's venture firms, angel investor, and stuff like that. You have to identify them. Identifying them also has to do with getting to know them. What is their area of interest? Is this person interested in only in agriculture? Like Joseph said, you can't go pitch someone that is interested in like I think one of the person mentioned that you can't go pitch someone that is interested in agriculture, someone that is not interested in shoemaking. You are pitching a shoemaking business to the person, right? So you have to know what different investors know about your investor. Do a due diligence. Due diligence means study what the person is, know if the person is actually a fit for the money you're looking for. And this also boils back to identifying the kind of investment that the person gives. So let's say you are looking for debt financing now. You obviously don't want to speak to a VC firm that does not give debt financing. If you want to do debt financing, you don't want to speak to an angel investor, an angel group that does not do debt financing. You want to look for people that offer what you want, which is where you have to identify, research about them, get to know what they do, and if they are a fit for you. If they're not a fit for you, it's not bad. The moment you identify that they are not a fit for you, you can still keep them as part of your network because you can need them later. You can start another business later, or a network of you can need them later. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't network with them. You can network with them, keep them in your network, but you know that this person cannot offer the funding I'm looking for at this point. Go look for another investor, right? Then the next thing is network. If you identify your investor already, you know that Bill Gates is your investor. Network, go to places where Bill Gates visits, event that he attends, and stuff like that. You get to network with them. It can be virtually, it can be physically, right? And the part of networking is you really get to build a relationship with the person. So let me give you an example that I wanted to give before, right? So I think that was that last year or the year before. Eh, there's this event that I do attend monthly. So I was at the event. I met one person. He was like, "Oh, I spoke at the event." So he was like, "Oh, that was amazing." I was like, "Oh, nice. Thank you very much. I hope you found value in it." We got to discuss a few things. I discovered that, oh, he's a blockchain analyst and all, is into crypto and all those things, right? So at that point, I actually didn't need him, but funny thing is, at that point, he was the one that actually needed something from me. But we got to connect. We built a very good relationship. But it got to a point where I needed to raise funds for something. Guess who actually got someone to show interest? Even he didn't have cash to invest, but he brought someone else to come invest because we've built network. So your network is always your net worth. They might not be immediate, you might not be getting benefit from them immediately, but if you maintain a very good network, right, you would always benefit from them. You see the power of networking now. The person I even networked with was not the person that was able to do what I needed. But he brought someone else because we have built a very good relationship. Network is about building good relationship with people, right? Then the next thing when you're in your funding process is when you've identified potential investor, you've networked with them, you've built great relationship with them. After you get to pitch them your idea, right? Pitch them whatever you need funding for. Then the next thing is you negotiate your terms. You negotiate when you pitch to them, and they pick interest in you, right? At that point, you can start to talk about how much you need, what they are getting in return, and stuff like that, right? And the next thing is you closing the deal. So it's all about you just finalizing and you're done. So just the little things to just finalize for us. What are the things you should spend on? Because I've seen people make this kind of mistake, right? You raise fund and go spend a lot of things. The things you should spend on primarily should be this thing on the screen. You spend primarily on the product you're building and the marketing. According to statistics, 34% of small businesses fail due to lack of proper funding, proper product market fit. And 22% of startups fail because they don't have sound marketing strategy. So you should spend your money that you raise not on cars, not on luxury lifestyle, but on building the product you wanted to build and on marketing and selling the product. That is the thing that would actually make your idea successful. Because at the end of the day, it's not only about you building, having an idea, it's about you getting the idea to execution and building something successful out of the idea. So I will leave us with one single thought at the end of this, that one day you leave this world behind. So live a life you remember. Build things. If you have an idea, execute your idea. Don't settle for less. Write it down. The time might not be now, but ensure that you push for every idea that you get and leverage these tools. And at the end of the day, you would live a happy life. Thank you very much. I hope we'll find value in this session. Thank you very much.
Wow, 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 wow. I can say this calls for celebration. Actually, you are like the first speaker that we exceeded a lot of time for, even though it's a public holiday. This is amazing. You actually dished more than you served us deliciously. You've actually gave content that I feel like everybody on this call will be needing one time or the other. Thank you so much for coming to speak to the Genesis co-community members and every other audience. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we've come to the end of this session. And in case you want to get to know the speaker himself, sir, you can drop your details in the comment section, your LinkedIn profile, your Instagram profile, whereby individuals might want to connect with you to ask you some personal questions. Thank you so much. Mr. Joseph, how can we help you? Yes, you can unmute yourself. We are almost done. We are done already. Yes, we are done. Hello, Mr. Joseph.
Was I raising my hand?
Yes, yes. I noticed you raised your
That
hand.
was the earlier time I asked the question, actually.
Okay, okay. Thank you so
Maybe
much.
I didn't raise the hand. Let me remove it.
Okay, thank you. So thank you, Mr. Femi Agbola. We hope to see you coming for the next workshop session and how you train more people in the community. Thank you. God bless you. Bye. If you want to connect with him, his details is in the chat box. Please do well to message, connect. for counseling, guidance. Don't go ask for money. I'm not giving out money for free. Bye. Have a wonderful day.